Okay, so today we're going to be making sage and salt tooth powder, a herbal tooth powder. And this is because I am tired of spending my hard-earned money on things that quite frankly aren't too good for you. Things that are filled with so many synthesized chemicals instead of using things that are grown from the earth. So let's talk about our ingredients. So here we have sage. And we are using sage because it's essentially anti-everything. It's antiviral, antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal, it's an astringent, and it's anti-inflammatory. So all of this good stuff we're going to be using for our tooth powder. And if you smell it, it smells absolutely divine. It fills me with like a euphoric bliss. So I've got dried leaves here. And for this recipe, we are going to be using two parts sage to 1 part salt. So I'm going to put this in my pestle and mortar. And then we also have some coarse sea salt here. And we're using coarse sea salt because it's a healing mineral. I mean, it is good for reducing inflammation. It's good for all things oral hygiene. So we're going to be using 1 part salt. And as you can see, I'm not really measuring anything precisely because there is no precise recipe for this. It's an art form, it's not a science. So I'm going to grind this. Until we get a fine powder. And as you start to grind, all the good smells from the sage are releasing themselves and becoming aromatic. And a key to using herbs in your day-to-day life is to ensure that you use the best quality herbs that you can get your hands on. So I'm using organic sage leaves, and they've been dried and they had no signs of mold or mildew. And they're very fresh. They smell so good. The finer the better, but it doesn't have to be perfect because I find in nature nothing ever is really perfect anyway. So I'm happy with that. It's a nice powdered consistency and texture. And when you taste it, it should be salty, but not too much so. Okay. So, to store it, I'm going to place it in a jar, but because this jar lid has an aluminum coating, I'm going to be using some wax paper to prevent rusting. And if you store it in a cool, dry place, it should keep for a long time, as long as you keep it dry and cool. So that's it there. And there you have it. Your herbal tooth powder. And you can make it with 2 simple ingredients. And it's super good for you.